I know this lady looks a little bit different from the last time y'all saw her. This is absolutely an update, final update on this story. And it ended up with a tragic ending because you had these children that were harmed in part by this woman. And I don't really feel any sympathy for her based on the sentence that she got. So I want y'all to take a listen at this story. Before we get into the details, let me give you a disclaimer about my content. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. So we're getting this story from dispatch.com. So that's where I'm getting this article from. So thank you for the article. A federal judge sentenced a woman who pleaded guilty to kidnapping twin 5-month-old boys from Columbus in December 2022 to more than 23 years in prison. There's a lot of reason for that. I think that they got the number correct. So even if she does like 80% of that time, I think it's suitable based on what the end result was. But you can't fix what happened to these twin kids. Nala Jackson, who was 26 years old. Let me back it up again so you can see her face. That's Nala Jackson, allegedly 26 years old and allegedly homeless. Stole an idling car on December the 19th of 2022 from outside a restaurant in Short North. The twins by the name of Kaysen with the K and Ky'Air, K-Y apostrophe A-I-R, like Ky'Air Thomas, who were 5 months old at the time, were in the back seat while their mother had gone into a restaurant to pick up an order that she was delivering. Let me say that again. Basically, mom was at work. She was working, and it sounds like she was doing Uber Eats or some type of food delivery. Left her kids in a running car to grab an order and come right back out. Flat out, she knows it's irresponsible. If she doesn't, then mom, it's irresponsible to do that. I know it's expensive to have children. I know it's expensive to pay for daycare. But that's why you don't have kids until you are able to properly provide supervision for your children when you are working. I know people say, well, I was doing what I was got to do, Just Jay, right? Only understand that to a certain extent. When it comes to putting your children in danger, there is no excuse. I hope I make myself extremely clear on my stance. There is no excuse to put your children in danger. Now, let's move on. Jackson previously pled guilty in February to 2 counts of kidnapping in U.S. District Court in Columbus. As part of the plea deal, federal prosecutors and Jackson's attorney had recommended a 20-year prison sentence for Jackson. However, U.S. District Judge Michael Watson rejected that plea offer, resulting in a new plea agreement with an agreed-upon sentencing range between 20 to 25 years. Watson ultimately sentenced Jackson to 23 years and 4 months in federal prison. And I'm just curious to know, does anybody feel sorry for the woman that kidnapped these kids and stole that car because she was homeless? Because personally, I don't. I don't feel sorry for her. In the society, especially since 2020 and all the BS that came with 2020, there were some things that happened in our society. This thing called working from home. If you ask me, certain industries were harmed and maybe certain jobs went away, but there were still a lot of other jobs that were opened up that you can actually do if you have an internet connection, some type of laptop, tablet, computer, phone, smartphone. You can work from home in a lot of situations. If you have a vehicle, you could drive Uber, you could drive Lyft, you could do Uber Eats delivery, you could do Spark. There's a lot of things that you can do that were not options prior to 2020, right? at least let me say not options, but options that people didn't really realize that were at their disposal, if that makes sense. It was highly highlighted after 2020, right? So in this society where we have a lot of opportunities for you to not have a whole lot of qualifications, a whole lot of education, for you to be able to go out and go work a job and earn a living, I don't really have any sympathy. Here's the funny part, and this is the reality with most people like this that don't have children. I don't know if she has children or not. I'm going to assume that she doesn't. Most people that have children are able to have housing, Section 8 food stamps if they are just less fortunate in life, right? Because of the fact that they have kids. It's not all, hashtag not all. But it's funny how this woman is claiming to be destitute. Why is that? You're an able-bodied person. You have all of your hands, feet, and toes. You clearly know how to drive a car, but you don't know how to push a mop. You don't know how to flip burgers. You don't know how to pull fries out of a vat. You don't know how to take out trash. Hell, to be absolutely honest, with everybody having a goddamn smartphone, and even if you aren't able to buy your own smartphones, there are actually programs that if you're on some type of government assistance, you can get free smartphones. I know there's some people out there that might like to see and check out her OnlyFans if she had one. You know, maybe not a good collective of people, but maybe a few. I mean, I'm just saying there are some options out there that you can get your lazy punk ass up and go work, and you don't have to steal from people. That's what I'm saying. I don't give a damn what you do. Don't take other people's stuff, let alone other people's kids. Now, before she was sentenced, she offered up what she said was her version of the events. I don't really too much care, but I'll read it. She said, "I looked in the front. I didn't look in the back seat," Jackson said, of stealing the idling car. "If I would have seen those babies in the back seat, I wouldn't have taken that car." Yes, I said OnlyFans. I wouldn't want to see her OnlyFans, but I'm just saying there has to be some child predators out there that might like to see her OnlyFans. I'm just saying, right? Authorities issued an Amber Alert for the twins after the car was stolen. So that's when the story really, really went viral. And all the Amber Alerts went out there. We all were talking about this story. The following morning, a passerby found Ky'Air in his car seat in a parking lot outside Dayton International Airport. Keep in mind, it was absolutely freezing freaking cold. The U.S. Attorney's Office said that Jackson went into the airport, and when she came out, she couldn't find the car she stole. She even tried to hire a ride-share driver to find the car. On Tuesday, Jackson says she had tried to take the twin boys to the airport in a luggage rack, but got scared when she saw the airport police officers. Jackson, which means that she knew exactly what she was doing. So she had the presence in mind, knowing that these kids could get her in trouble, dropping them off. So yeah, how crazy, how mentally ill is she actually? Seemed pretty clear-minded, knowing that there are going to be consequences. Anyway, Jackson also says she put clothes on the twin boys and strapped them in their car seats after realizing that they were in the back. Jackson did not say Tuesday she would have returned the stolen vehicle. She says she had taken a large dose of methamphetamine, a drug she didn't frequently use. Let me say that again. She says she took a large dose of methamphetamine. I'm not saying that black people don't do meth, but let me see if I can get that picture back up here. Usually there's a look. There's a, what do they call it? What do they call it? A stereotype There is a stereotype of people who do meth as far as looks. Let me see if I go back to, I want y'all to look at this with her belly sticking out. Does she look like a meth head? To me, she doesn't. She says she took a large dose of meth. She's saying she's claiming to be a meth Billy. That's right. But she says she doesn't do it frequently. Well, how many meth users and abusers do y'all know or y'all have heard of? They do meth all the damn time. They don't just do it every once in a while, once a month, once every other month. Usually a person that does meth usually does meth all the time. I'm just throwing that out there. That just seems highly unlikely. She said that she was high, she was out of her mind, and she said if she wasn't high, she would have pulled over and put the children in a safe place. Jackson was eventually found in the car in the airport's parking lot, took Ky'Air out, and left him in the car seat between two other parked vehicles. She then sped to Indianapolis, the U.S. Attorney's Office said. Once in Indianapolis, Jackson left the car in a restaurant parking lot with Ky'Air still in the back seat. So she dropped off one, didn't drop off the other. Of course, doesn't make a lot of sense. The U.S. Attorney's Office said that Jackson began selling merchandise outside a gas station and met a woman who offered her a ride and her cell phone number. The woman later determined Jackson was the woman being sought in the Amber Alert and created a plan with her cousin to meet up with Jackson and try to find 5-month-old Ky'Air. And gotta remember that video, very crazy video. Go back and watch it on my channel if you want to see it. 2 days later, on December 22nd, 2022, the two women met with Jackson. The women contacted Indianapolis police, who were able to catch up with the three women. Jackson gave police a fake name and a fake ID, according to court records. A few hours later, more than 2.5 days after being reported missing, the women found Ky'Air in the vehicle's back seat in a restaurant parking lot and alerted Indianapolis police officers at another nearby location. Police retrieved the boy from inside the cold parked car shortly before a snowstorm was to hit Indianapolis. The U.S. Attorney's Office said that Ky'Air was treated for dehydration and some heart abnormalities likely caused by dehydration. But aside from his sitting in the excrement for that time, he was uninjured. So, of course, he used the bathroom on himself. I mean, you expect a baby to do that. On January 28th, 2023, Ky'Air died unexpectedly. His death was ruled a sudden, unexplained infant death by Franklin County Coroner's Office and determined to be unrelated to the kidnapping. So could it have caused this baby to die? Sure, but they couldn't prove it, so they couldn't charge her for that. On Tuesday, federal prosecutors said Ky'Air had a seizure disorder, but it's unclear if that's a side effect of being left in the cold. Again, they couldn't prove it. When Watson asked what happened, Jackson described the situation as an out-of-body experience. Your out-of-body experience led to a nightmare for this family, Watson said. She said, I'm not a monster. I know what I did was wrong and what I put that mom through. Watson called Jackson's words and explained for what happened a cold comfort to the boy's family. He said in arriving at the sentence Tuesday, he took into account Jackson's complex mental health issues and the difficult childhood that she had. This woman kidnapped little kids, stole a car, and we want to talk about what she went through as a child. See, I don't like shit like that, right? I don't like stuff like that. There is no excuse. What's going on, Phoenix? How are you? I see you in the building. What up? What up? We got to stop making excuses for people who cause damage, hurt, put children in danger, and blame it on mental illness. Mental illness will no longer be an excuse in our country for people hurting, murdering, and abusing kids, okay? Now, here's the interesting part. because she kidnapped these kids, even though they couldn't blame the death of that child on her and the seizures of the other child on her, she is required to register as a sex offender. She will be on supervised release for 5 years when she is released from prison, because that is part of her sentence. She'll be required to register as a sex offender. And I think that is a wonderful thing to tack on to what she already has as far as her sentence. So I like that. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If you guys can help us share this update, all you got to do is hit that thumbs up, leave a comment. That helps us out quite a bit. So make sure that we have at least one thumb up for everybody watching. All right, here we go.
Closure for the family at the center of a 2022 Amber Alert involving twin toddlers that gained regional attention. Today, a federal judge sentenced Nala Jackson to more than 20 years behind bars after pleading guilty to 2 federal kidnapping charges. NBC4's Anna Hoffman was in the courtroom today, and she joins us now live outside the federal court with the latest. Anna?
Jared, Judge Michael Watson called this entire situation deeply troubling. He sentenced Jackson to 23 years in prison. Jackson did give a lengthy statement, though, before the judge gave that sentence, and she was crying the entire time. Almost 2 years after an Ohio Amber Alert sent shockwaves around the region, the woman at the center of it has learned her fate. Nala Jackson will spend 23 years in prison after pleading guilty to federal kidnapping charges. No cameras are allowed inside federal court, but Jackson repeatedly said she was sorry for what she did. Jackson admitted to being, quote, high out of her mind on meth at the time of the incident. She claimed she was looking for a warm place to sleep when she saw the running car and did not see the boys in the back seat. This happened on one of the coldest nights of the year. Police say Jackson stole the car outside of a Short North pizza shop. One of the boys was found the next day outside the Dayton airport. In court Tuesday, Jackson claimed she was trying to do the right thing by dropping the boys at a safe place. But when she saw airport police, she said she got scared and only grabbed one baby. The other was found days later in the car in Indianapolis. Federal prosecutors said the second twin had been alone in that car for more than 48 hours when he was found by Good Samaritans. Prosecutors say he was treated for severe dehydration and rash. Months after the kidnapping, the first twin died. Prosecutors say the second twin suffers from a seizure disorder. They are not sure if it is a side effect from being left alone in the cold. Jackson's attorney did detail her long history of mental health struggles and substance abuse. Jackson said today in court, quote, it was never my intention to harm those babies. I think about it every day. I want the family to know how sorry I am, and that's not who I am, end quote. Judge Michael Watson replied, quote, your out-of-body experience led to a nightmare for this family. Jackson will have 5 years of supervised release after she is released from prison. She will also be required to register as a sex offender. No one from the twins' family was available for comment today, and neither lawyer wanted to go on camera.
Sorry. Got it. I figured it out. So just to explain, the reason why she's having to register as a sex offender is because she kidnapped children. Plain and simple. For no other reason, just because she kidnapped children. That doesn't mean that it's ruling out that she might have violated those children in a sexual manner, but they don't know it. They didn't charge her for that. They're just simply saying for the kidnapping. Now, before I play the next video, I also want to say this. When she said, that's not who I am. Oh, well, you know how they say you are what you eat, right? You are what you eat. I think you are what you do. So if you hurt, murder, kidnap, or abuse children or sexually assault them, that is what you are. You are a detriment to children. That is what she did. She is a detriment to children. Also, somebody in the chat caught that. Thank you very much. That also now means that she's going to have an additional stipulation that even if she does get out, because she's going to have to register as a sex offender, she cannot be around children. She cannot interact with children. She got to leave them alone. So that's another good part about it. So let's go. Next story, or next video.
The Columbus woman accused of kidnapping twin infants just before Christmas a couple of years ago will spend the next 23 years in prison. A federal judge handing Nala Jackson that stiff sentence just hours ago.
Well, let's walk you through a timeline of how we got here. Nala Jackson stole a running car outside a Short North pizza shop on December 19th, 2022. These 5-month-old twins, Ky'Air and Ky'Air Thomas, were inside. Their mother had gone inside the shop to get an order.
Ky'Air was found hours later on the 20th, abandoned near Dayton International Airport. Family and friends would then spend a few days searching frantically around Dayton for Ky'Air.
On the 22nd, Indianapolis police found Nala Jackson and arrested her, and then later found Ky'Air inside his mother's stolen car outside another pizza joint.
Sadly, Ky'Air died a month later. An autopsy couldn't determine the cause, but the coroner says an unsafe sleeping environment could have been a factor. Now, today's sentence comes after Jackson reached a plea deal with prosecutors back in February.
After months of hearings and delays, Jackson finally learned her fate today. Rodney Dunnigan outside federal court with the final chapter of a drama that gripped Central Ohio.
Nala Jackson's prison sentence finally brings closure to this case, a story that made waves across the country and rocked a local family to its core.
Let me give a shout out to my guy LA in the chat. What's going on, man? What up, bro? Peace, peace.
As the search went on for those missing twins back in 2022. Nala Jackson sentenced to 23 years in federal prison Tuesday. Once released, she'll be under 5 years supervised release. And under federal law, she must also register as a sex offender for the federal charges of kidnapping minors. That designation is standard. Jackson is not accused of assaulting the twins in any way.
So there's the perfect explanation right there. So hopefully y'all heard that. If you need to hear it again, just rewind it. They explained it perfectly.
A judge handing down that sentence in an afternoon hearing. Cameras not allowed in federal court, but plenty of new information detailed. Jackson telling the judge the night the Thomas twins were kidnapped in December of 2022, she had spent the night getting high on meth. She didn't want to spend the night on the streets. When she saw a running car, she jumped in and sped off. She said in court if she would have known the babies were...
I almost forgot to ask, if y'all would do me a favor, I know we ain't got that many people watching right now, but do me a favor, if y'all would, please share this video, hit that thumbs up. It'll help us out quite a bit. Everybody that's watching, please hit that thumbs up. All right, here we go.
Inside, she never would have done it. Prior to sentencing, Jackson's defense attorney also outlining her troubled past. Years of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse as a child, time in foster care as well.
Let me ask this, because you said, I have somebody in the chat that said, wow, sex offender for kidnapping. Let me ask this. Do you disagree with it? Because I think you disagree with it. Do we have any other people that also disagree? Like, do y'all think that's too much? Because I actually think it makes perfect sense. Remember what we've been asking for. We've been asking for harsher laws. Like in Texas, where I live at, we have this thing called super aggravated child abuse laws for people who hurt, murder, or abuse children under the age of 10 years old. So it's a additionally strong charge when you mess with children that truly can't defend themselves or maybe be able to outthink their way out of a situation that an adult might have put them in. So you don't disagree, but you're shocked. Okay, I could accept that. But here's the thing. I want you to think about it like this. Is there ever a good reason for somebody to kidnap children in any scenario? Is there ever a good reason? Because if it's not, I think there should be some additional stipulations to prevent people who have been caught stealing children for whatever reason to be put on additional stipulations, as much as you could possibly get. Because what reason do people normally kidnap kids? You got to think about it. What reason do people normally kidnap kids? That's probably the best way to put it. Like you said, there's never a good reason to take a child because of all the things that we know that ends up happening, let alone the fact that you just shouldn't steal people's stuff, including people's humans. So I like that. They absolutely need to be on a registry. Hey, this person had the tendency to take people's babies.
It was also revealed Jackson was trafficked as a teen. Jackson cuffed and shackled in court, emotional as she spoke to the Thomas family, saying in part, battling addiction. The truth is, I didn't even care about my own kids at the time.
So she did have kids. Wow, god damn. Okay, so this makes her even less this makes her even less of a woman. How do you have kids and still end up homeless? With all the homeless shelters, all the Section 8 food stamps, child support that you can get potentially. And they said kids, that's plural. Y'all read that. I'm not making that up. So I'm assuming that somebody walked around and thought that she was worth sleeping with and made 2 kids with her. And she carried them kids 18 months. At least 2 different occasions at least 2, maybe more. We don't really know how many kids she had. The fact that you can end up homeless when you have all the advantages in your favor, I think that speaks volume about whores like this. It's not all, but I think it is absolutely justified of someone like me to castigate people like this. I don't give a damn that she's black. I don't care what race she is. Y'all have heard me go in on people from other countries before. I don't care what the race they are. I don't care what their nationality is. I don't care what their religion is. I don't care what their motive is at all. I'm just saying when the deck is stacked in your favor and you still find a way to fail in life, then I just think that that's just what the fuck you are. You are a failure, in my humble opinion. That is a choice that you're making. You're just like, here, go this way. It's like somebody giving you the answers on the test and you still fail the goddamn test. Like, have y'all ever had classes like that? I did. I had some good teachers, not only in high school. Maybe I guess I could tell now. I guess it's okay to tell now. I had a couple teachers when I was in college that would literally let you study before the test, practically give you the answers, and you still write in the wrong shit. That's her. That's the type of person that she is. It's like, I give you the cheat sheet and you still find a way to get a fucking F. That's ridiculous.
Not a monster. I know what I did was wrong. What I put that mom through. I'm sorry. Family inside, not...
That's right. White people lazy too. Yes, all races of people are lazy and dumb and drug addicts and meth billies. Including black people. Apparently black people do meth too.
Not speaking as they left the courthouse.
Jackson was being held at the Correctional Center of Northwest Ohio in Stryker. Following Tuesday's sentence, she'll be transferred to a federal facility to begin serving her prison time. On your side, outside the federal courthouse.
So here's the messed up part. At the end of the day, with this particular story, you don't know if her actions caused the death of these babies. I tend to think that you can tie those things together. Yes, I think that she should have gotten more of a stricter sentence because her actions could have led to the death of one of these kids and the seizure of the other. These kids didn't have the situation that they had before you came and stole them and put them through this traumatic situation because you didn't give a damn about your kids. You didn't give a damn about your stinking ass womb. You didn't give a damn about smoking meth and screwing up your life, and you wanted to go mess up somebody else's life and steal somebody else's car. But then again, let's get back to mom. Let me go back to mom being irresponsible. Mom could have also have been a better person as well. What type of dumb ass parent leaves their newborn children in a car running and it's freezing outside knowing that it's a bunch of thieves out here, knowing the possibilities? That's not a good parent. That's the mom. And yes, I'm saying that's not a good parent either. So yes, I'm stepping on her heart right now. So you really don't know if the woman who stole the car contributed. Nala Jackson, you don't know if she contributed to the death of this kid and the health issues of the other. So I think that they got this right as far as the sentencing, and that's really going to be the end of it, and you just got to move on from there. So God bless that soul of the baby that was lost to the other baby. Keep him in your prayers, and just hope that the family can pull through and learn from this and don't make the same mistakes ever again, okay? Thank you guys so much for listening to this update, and that's going to be in the end of this particular story. Thank you. So let's go right into story number 2. If you guys are listening, I know we are just scraping past 200 people. I would love to see us back to 600, 700, 800 people, but I forgot to promote the live stream. So I'm sorry I haven't been live in a while, and I need to do this more often, so I do apologize to everybody listening. We're about to get into story number 2. Thank you, Tanea. Anybody who wants to donate, again, we have a brand new Cash App. If you're using a Cash App that I had before, it is going to tell you that it is not working. It is not accepted. We have a new Cash App, $, the AFC Matters. I'll type it in the chat, $, the AFC Matters. And I will update it on all other videos and content so that way you guys can find it a little bit easier, okay? All right. And again, if we can get, let me just say, I'm gonna give a low number. If we can get the 300 thumbs up, right now we're at 162, so we're almost already there. If we can get the 300 thumbs up, I'm gonna give away another 5 channel memberships for free. So why were they in the car alone? That's a great question. So what it was mom was actually working. It sounds like mom was doing something similar to Uber Eats. Ran into a store to go pick up an order, came back out, and her car was gone. Just that quick. So Zoe Jones, that is your answer. She was working, and that is hella irresponsible. If you're working, shouldn't have your kids with you. Or you shouldn't, at least if you have your kids, they should always be around you at every moment, especially little bitty young kids like them twins. Shouldn't be working with twins, like that's crazy. Shouldn't have your twins with you at work. One kid is a hell of a lot of responsibility, let alone 2. Now, let's talk about this crazy story. Thank you, Reej. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. I posted the Cash App in there. You know what? Let me see. Maybe I could I'm going to just copy the link, and I'm going to paste the direct link. Because anybody who was donating before, y'all are not going to be able to find it the way that you were before. So let me see if I can fix that for you. Again, shout out to my dog, LA. I seen you in the chat, bro. Y'all make sure and go subscribe to his channel when y'all get a chance. That is my partner. That's my homie. Shout out to Phoenix. Subscribe to Phoenix also. Phoenix, if you're still in the chat, post the link to your chat also. Post the link to your channel also. Should we show love around here? Dippy, post the link to your channel, if you would, please, so we can find you as well. Y'all go subscribe to Dippy Escapes. And get some content from our friend over there as well. Let me make sure I got the right video in here. That is number 2. Okay, yes, that's the right one. All right. I'm not going to lie to you. I really got pissed when I was reading this story. And you just can't give a person enough time in prison for hurting, murdering, or abusing children. And in this case, this is probably about as harsh of a sentence as you could get. But I have a lot of personal feelings. But I want y'all to hear what this man did to that little girl that you guys just saw on my screen. So, true crime, if y'all are ready to hear this, let's get into it. Here's a disclaimer. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. And I'm getting this story from timesunion.com. I haven't used that site before, but I do like this article. It's pretty comprehensive. Relatively short story, but hear this out. That fool that you guys just saw on my screen with his head down, acting like he's sad about what he did. He's not sad. He's just a sad sack of crap. This fool. His name is Robert Fischer, and he stared down at the defense table Tuesday morning, never looking up, as he was sentenced in the Rensselaer County Court to 20 years to life in prison for killing and raping a 3-year-old girl in 2023. Yes, the epitome of a pedophile. This fool. Let me tell you the story. The packed courtroom was silent as Assistant District Attorney Antonia Edwards read a hard-hitting statement followed by Judge Deborah delivering an emotional and poignant sentencing message. Fischer's admitted to killing and raping a 3-year-old girl by the name of Josephina Cunningham. I think that's how you pronounce that angel's name. So I want y'all to take a look at this face. If you ever wanted to know what a pedophile looks like, this is one of them. And I want y'all to remember there is no rehabilitation for pedophiles or people who sexually assault children. Their souls are required in hell, at least while they're on earth. They need to be in prison for life, period, with no possibility of parole. Period. I want y'all to look at my baby girl here. This angel. 3-year-old Josephina Cunningham. And this angel lost her life behind this sick man's actions. I think that's the brother of that little girl, believe it or not. I think that's the brother of that little girl. That's not the biological father from what I heard. I think that was the brother, the big brother of that little girl. Beautiful little angel. And this man, I'm going to try to mind my language, violated this child. She's 3 years old, and this happened between 8 p.m. July 6th and 7:20 a.m. July 7th of 2023. Or excuse me, he admitted to killing and doing this action between 8 p.m. July 6th and 7:20 a.m. July 7th, 2023 in her Rensselaer city home, traumatized her family, friends, and the community of Rensselaer and the police, firefighters, first responders who had to answer the emergency call. So I know you guys are probably wondering, how did he get access to this baby? How did he get access? They quote, "The heinous acts of the defendant took Josie away from this world and this community. This community also deserves to know what a horrible and vile acts this defendant committed and the absolute horror Josie met when she came home from daycare on July 6, 2023 into July 7, 2023, Edwards said. Edwards detailed how Fischer, 34 years old, drugged Josie by using her mother's medication. Fischer then raped and killed the toddler and then tried to cover up what he had done. The statement describes how Fischer had befriended Josie's mother before he preyed on Josie and caused her death. He took Clorox wipes and scrubbed her face so hard that he burned the pigment right off of her face. He used these Clorox wipes throughout her body. Oh my God. He even placed the Clorox wipes inside of the little girl. And I'm sure y'all know what he was trying to do. Fuck, man. Oh, God be with me. I just get so angry when I read this stuff. But I know we have to tell this baby's story. She deserves to have her story told, okay? Now, Josie was described by Edwards as a loving and caring child. She had a smile that would light up a room. Her teacher said at daycare she would pretend to be a teacher. She would line the baby dolls up and pretend to read to them and feed them. She had very nurturing qualities. She was a girly girl. Young sentenced Fischer to 20 years to life for second-degree murder and 20 years with 20 years post-release supervision for second-degree rape. Both sentences to run concurrently. So that's at the same time. So, yeah. Who typed it in the chat? Yeah, Dre. That's exactly what he was trying to do, bro. I don't even want to think about it, man. It's just hard to even imagine. Both sentences to run concurrently at the exact same time as part of the plea agreement. District Attorney Mary Pat Donnelly said the plea agreement was made in order to avoid the drama of a trial for the family and to learn what Fischer had done to the toddler, which I'm sure none of us want to know. You are a threat to society. You show no remorse for what you did to Josie, Young said. The judge told Fischer he will never be fit to live in the community, and I agree with that. The judge also said that when a future parole panel considers releasing him from prison, that she hopes they study the sentencing records and other court records to reach a decision that he never be let out again. When Fischer was asked if he wanted to say anything, he quietly said no. Defense attorney Lucas Mihuta represented Fischer. The courtroom was filled with Josie's family, Rensselaer police officers and firefighter troopers, Rensselaer elected officials, ambulance workers, and district attorney's staff was also in the courtroom. At a news conference held in the courtroom or in the courthouse immediately after sentencing, Rensselaer Police Chief Warren something said, I can't read his last name, said, Robert Fischer, for lack of a better term, is an evil individual who has a long criminal history. He's devastated a long line of people. Donnelly asked anyone in the community who may have knowledge of any other acts by Fischer to contact the police. Josie's other brother, Jaquan Stewart, who was the guy I showed you in the picture, holding the little girl, sat through the sentencing. After the news conference, Stewart said it's a heinous crime. This case deserves the death penalty. I think that another part of it, not only to hear what he actually did to the little girl, I think another reason why the family doesn't want this to go to trial is to find out how this little girl ended up in this man's possession for any length of time. I think, in my opinion, that's probably another piece of it. But let me give you guys the fair usage. Just remember that I said it. You're probably not going to hear that from any other podcast, but you heard it from me. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. We had somebody in the chat said mom needs to be locked up for negligence, homicide for allowing him around her daughter. Well, it's hard for me to disagree with your sentiments there, but that's kind of what I'm leading towards. It just makes me wonder, how did we get here? And there has to be a predicate person that allowed that to happen. If you guys would do me a favor, even if you disagree with what I'm saying, just leave a comment. Please hit the thumbs up to at least share this video so more people can see it and hear the story, okay? Here we go.
3-year-old Josephina, known to her family and friends as Josie, was a loving and caring child. She had a smile that would light up a room. Her teacher said at daycare that she often pretended to be a teacher. She would line the baby dolls up and pretend to read to them, and she would feed them. She exhibited very nurturing qualities. She was a girly girl. Every day she had her pink scarf with matching red hearts on it and a pink purse to go with it. And she would say to the teachers, "Do you like my dress today?" Hours before her murder, she was seen on video footage at her daycare, running around on the playground, smiling and laughing with her peers, doing what children should be doing. This is how her family, friends, and the community should remember Josie, a carefree, happy child. The heinous acts of the defendant took Josie away from this world and the community. And the community also deserves to know what horrible and vile acts that the defendant committed and the horror that Josie met when she came home from daycare on July 6th of 2023 into July 7th of 2023. For some background, Josie's mother, Lakeisha, met the defendant because his sister lived next door. He became a friend of Lakeisha, and he started sleeping over the house only days prior to her murder.
That's starting to give us some details. If y'all can't hear it, I'll probably have to fix the video to bump up the volume. Let me back it up just a little bit.
2023. For some background, Josie's mother, Lakeisha, met the defendant because his sister lived next door. He became a friend of Lakeisha, and he started sleeping over the house only days prior to her murder.
So a friend of the mom.
He immediately revealed himself to be a predator. Within days of meeting Josie, he preyed on her and caused her death. On July 6th of 2023, in the evening hours, Lakeisha went to Walmart and left the defendant alone to watch Josie.
Babysitting. After 2 days? Babysitting. After 2 days. To the family, I ask you, how do you defend that? How do you explain that? You're victimizing us. You're making us look like we did something wrong, Just Jay. Well, yeah, the hell you did do something wrong. Yes. You don't leave your kids with friends and strangers. Stranger danger. God dang. I'm going to let y'all hear this again. Just listen again.
Came home from daycare on July 6th of 2023 into July 7th of 2023. For some background, Josie's mother, Lakeisha, met the defendant because his sister lived next door. He became a friend of Lakeisha, and he started sleeping over the house only days prior to her murder. He immediately revealed himself to be a predator. Within days of meeting Josie, he preyed on her and caused her death. On July 6th of 2023, in the evening hours, Lakeisha went to Walmart and left the defendant alone to watch Josie. And this is the first time that Josie had ever been alone in the defendant's care. After Lakeisha returned from Walmart, she took some of her medication and she told the police that she fell asleep. And she also told the police that Josie was sleeping. It was then sometime during the evening hours of July 6th of 2023 into the early morning hours of July 7th of 2023 that the defendant took the medication prescribed to Lakeisha, crushed it up, and put it in a cup for Josie to drink. He drugged her, he went into her bedroom, and he raped her. He did all of this while she was alive and awake. And we know that not only from the autopsy results, but we know that from the defendant's own words in his plea allocution. He did this to her while she was alive and awake.
Heinous and depraved actions caused unimaginable pain and suffering to an innocent and defenseless child. Your actions were not only reprehensible, they were also a betrayal of the trust that society places on individuals to protect and care for our most vulnerable members. Josie's own mother trusted you to care for her, and you betrayed that trust by drugging her, raping her, and killing her. And even when she was gone, you continued to violate her by using cleaning products that were so strong they literally removed the pigment from her skin in an attempt to destroy the evidence of what you had done to her. You are a threat to society. You've shown no remorse for what you did to Josie. It is my duty to impose a sentence that reflects the seriousness of your actions and protects society from the harm that you have demonstrated yourself capable of inflicting. I want to emphasize that this agreed upon sentence was only acceptable to the court because it spared the family and the first responders and the community the additional trauma and uncertainty that comes with the trial. I would also urge anyone who may possibly think of someday approving your release back into society to read your file, read the minutes of this sentencing, read the pre-sentence investigation report, and most importantly, to look at the photos of Josie before returning you to live in society, because it is clear to this court that you will never be fit to live in the community ever again.
Straight like that. 100% agree.
Folks, this was a baby. She was a baby, and this man violated her in a way that people shouldn't have to think about.
A sentencing in a horrifying case in Rensselaer County.
A man learns his fate for committing an awful crime, raping and killing a 3-year-old girl. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Sabrina Dami.
And good evening. I'm Mark Mulholland. Prosecutors say the community should know what Robert Fischer did last year when he killed 3-year-old Josephina Cunningham.
The details are just awful. And new at 6, Kumi Tucker spoke with the little girl's brother, only on 13. She joins us live right now from Troy. Kumi, good evening to you.
Good evening, Sabrina and Mark. And here at the Rensselaer County Courthouse, it was very difficult to sit in this courtroom today and listen to these horrifying details. And we want to warn you, the details are very upsetting. And many first responders were here. They packed the courtroom today in honor of that little girl. Josephina Cunningham had a sweet smile. She was just 3 years old when her life was taken from her in a horrifying attack. Robert Fischer admitted to raping and killing Josie in her home on Broadway in Rensselaer in July 2023.
You are a threat to society. You've shown no remorse for what you did to Josie.
He was a friend of her mother. He drugged her, went into her bedroom, and raped her while she was alive and awake.
And these actions killed her. Her body went through such a traumatic response. Her body shut down because it could not sustain the trauma of the rape.
He tried to cover it up, scrubbing her face so hard with Clorox wipes, he burned the pigment off her face. He even put Clorox wipes inside her.
A deeper look at the house yielded that there was bloody baby shark's sheets in Josie's room, the defendant's bloody underwear, countless bloody towels.
He said almost nothing in court.
I want everybody to know what Mr. Fischer did on that night. And when our initial responders showed up to the scene and they made contact with Josephina, they described her as being laid in bed on her back with her hands folded across her torso as if she was staged.
But the significant bruising on her hips, inner thighs, and buttocks told a different story. Fischer was sentenced to 20 years to life behind bars.
We felt the plea was necessary because we needed to know what happened. And in order to have Mr. Fischer allocute, we offered him 20 to life.
Josie's brother says this case deserves the death penalty.
People that that are innocent and getting killed like this and murdered like this, they can get death penalty. People that who commit these crimes get death penalty.
And the official cause of death was homicidal violence during a sexual assault with acute hemorrhage and lacerations, plus acute intoxication from the drugs. And prosecutors and police want people to know exactly what Robert Fischer did and to remember that, and also to remember little Josie. Reporting live in Troy, Kumi Tucker, News Channel 13. Mark and Sabrina, back to you.
Kumi, thank you.
For those who know me and been watching my channel for a long time, out of all of the traumatic stories that I have done over the years, you said it's just demonic. I 100% agree. Said there are undeniably horrific people in this world. I agree. Here's the thing. For those who know how my mind works, it's like I want to get everybody in prison, locked up, who had something to do with this. So, of course, you guys know that I have some strong feelings about this alleged mother who would leave her child with this man he's just a friend. Why? Why was he worthy of babysitting your child? Why was he worthy of babysitting your child alone? Why was he worthy of having unfettered access to this child? Where was the child's biological father? And again, this takes me back to my point of situations like this. Not all women, but a lot of women that I have seen in my stories on my channel specifically, who will let anybody watch their children besides the biological fathers. I don't know this woman that's the mother. Don't need to know her. All I know is that this man had access to your kid and shouldn't have, and you provided that access. There are fathers who have to go through days, months, and years, and tens of thousands of dollars in family court to get visitation rights to the child that they created, that the mother would have never had access to produce if not for that man's seed. Too many times we only put emphasis on the woman because she has to carry the child and have her body change and go through all of these things for 9 months, which is a very traumatic thing to go through. But I think we all respect that in society. We always have, we always will. So why does it diminish the value of the man who provides the seed to the soil that gets fertilized? The man is not valued, the father is not valued, the father is never spoken of in these situations. And the biological father would have to go through all of that and would have done none of this to his own damn kid. So how does this pedophile earn that high of favor with the mother to just out of the blue, yes, you can watch my young defenseless child? That's why they didn't want it to go to trial, and that's that's the accountability that I'm talking about. I think in our society, we run from the real accountability. We run from the real problem, or we just don't want to have the discussion. How many of y'all that know people that as soon as you start talking about something difficult, they want to change the subject, we'll talk about this later, or yeah, let's just never have this conversation again. We're just going to act like it didn't fucking happen. How we got there absolutely matters. Yes, you punish the bad decisions, the bad actions. But you also have to look at how we got there, who provided access, who took their children to the thug zoo, to the pedophile zoo, and allowed their child to be mauled by the thug lion. That person also has to be brought to the table and held accountable as well. That is true justice. When the family and friends and community start pointing the finger at that mother, you played a part in this too, and say that to her, when y'all get some gumption, when y'all get the cojones to say that to the mother, that's where we can start to make a real change. Otherwise, she'll just go make another kid. She'll put up a GoFundMe. They'll go release some balloons. And haven't learned a thing. They haven't learned how to truly prevent this. Random people are not certified babysitters and shouldn't be babysitting your kids. If you don't have the funds, don't have the kids. Josie, sweetheart, angel, I promise you, if you are in my family circle, we don't let random people handle our children. Not a chance in hell. Princess, R.I.P. Thank y'all for